Good morning, Southern California, AM 1220 KHTS. Host Fred Arnold on the Valley Industry Association Business Spotlight. I'm joined by a friend, a good friend of both the Chamber and VIA and the whole Valley, Randy Burzynski, and he's with FASTFRAME. Everybody knows he's from FASTFRAME.
I hope so.
Yes, very involved with the community, both you and Rosemary. So welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thank you.
So let's talk about FASTFRAME.
Yes.
What you do for those that want to know more.
Well, we literally just frame things. Frame everything, though. We have a lot of fun there. We have fun educating people on framing. You know, we don't just frame pictures and things like that, and diplomas and certifications, of course. But we get a lot of one-of-a-kind things, a lot of personal things, a lot of high intrinsic value, you know, that people entrust to us. Great-grandfather's violins, and I like to do a lot of shadow boxes. They're challenging, a lot of fun. You name it, I can put it into a shadow box.
Well, let's talk about framing, because you just can't go to the local store and buy a frame and put something in it if you want it to last.
Yeah, exactly. We're into what we call preservation and conservation. That doesn't just mean the materials we use that are all acid-free and balanced and UV protected. It's the procedures that we use when we put things together. Things have to be mounted in a certain way. We do a lot of what we call reversible techniques. One of the reasons I just got here when I walked in was I was working with a gentleman who had a one-of-a-kind Mark Davis. Mark Davis is the original artist with Disney. Very few. He's gone now. He's up at Disneyland somewhere, drawing, I'm sure, for Walt. And so we have to use the right materials in the right procedures, because this is a one-of-a-kind signed piece. And so we want it literally will outlast us with all the materials that we use.
And it's important. It's something you can pass on to generations.
Very much so.
Let's talk about just the UV glass. Yep. That's important, because sometimes when you hang on a wall, you're going to get certain angles. Plus, you got the lighting inside the room.
Yeah, all the glass we use, again, preservation conservation, is 99% UV protected. There's different types. We typically default to a conservation clear. You'll get some reflection, but if that isn't an issue with where you're going to hang it, we have a reflection control. In the best of the world, Rosemary doesn't want anything in the house unless it's museum glass. This stuff is just awesome. And the whole thing about the way it's infused into the glass, it literally allows 99.9% of light in, which means it's going to let that much out. The clarity is just awesome. It's almost like not having glass.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Let's talk about acid-free paper.
Well, again...
until I met you, I hadn't known what that concept was.
Yeah, I was going to say, Fred, you actually sound like you know what you're talking about here. That's
because I've been educated by you.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, again, we try to educate everybody. We get a lot of pieces in from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. They didn't have acid-free mats, acid-free materials and foam board. And it burns. It literally burns. Acid it's not the acid that we think of when we're cleaning and such. It's called lignin. It's in any plant or anything that grows, thus paper and wood. So it will literally burn a piece of regular paper, which could be a print, a photograph, or something like that. So we don't use that anymore. And sometimes when we see that come in, we're very cautious about taking that apart.
And preserving it.
Exactly.
In the way you can do it.
Yes.
Last thing I want to throw out there is, besides, I'm going to jump to your community involvement in a minute, but some really unique pieces you've done.
Oh, well, okay. Fun things. I had mentioned like great-grandfather's violins. This puts it back in like the late 1800s, and we did this one piece I did was just literally, he built it with his father, okay? And it's always fun if they have a photograph to put into the piece as well. We had a piece with this gentleman, World War I, in his outfit, with his violin case standing in the train station going off. And so we literally were able to capture all of that into a shadow box and stuff. Really fun. I've done dog paws. I've done horse paws. I've done... we just had a lady come in who just recently moved to Texas. Great-grandmother passed away in 1906 in Alaska. Father was in the military. Now, there's nothing in Alaska in 1906, you know. She passed away at 9 months old, but they had retained a lock of her hair. So we brought that in with some newspaper clippings, and I took the hair and put it between two pieces of acrylic, and we boxed that up and stuff. So
Yeah, beautiful,
yeah.
beautiful. Community involvement.
Oh, got to be involved in the community. This is a great place. Rosemary and I lived up here over 21 years, and you know, big town, small town, everybody needs to work together, and we have a lot of fun with that. Very active in the chamber. Boy, you know, anybody out there that has a small business, any business, you got to be involved in the chamber. So much opportunity to interact and connect with the local business people. Something in the morning, something in the afternoon, something in the evening, between mixers and all these things going on. What little we're able to do nonprofit-wise, and there's a lot of nonprofits up here, we try to contribute and participate in any form or fashion that we can.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in.
My pleasure.
As always.
Thanks for having.
Ladies and gentlemen, Randy Burzynski.
Very good.
I got
Fred
that.
Arnold.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Want to make sure I pronunciated that like it deserves from FASTFRAME. Rosemary, send my best.
My wife, I will. I got to get back right now.
You got to get back and do some more frames. Well, I hope you enjoyed this edition of the Santa Clarita Valley Industry Association Business Spotlight. If you want to watch this online, go to hometownstation.com. The show is Fred Arnold on AM 1220 KHTS.